Hello, everybody. Again, I come back to talk to the Africans and to talk to us about our struggle as FBA and EOS. Listen, African people that come from the diaspora, you're on the losing end of this conversation. It's totally backwards what you're doing. The way you're approaching the situation is embarrassing, asinine. It's rude. It's incompetent. Is foolish, especially the Somalians. The way I hear you talk to Tariq Nasheed in the Twitter space, and it's ridiculous. And some of you are educated people, and some of the females call in. They have an education, and they want to speak highly and in a sophisticated language, high society language about what goes on in colonialism and why and this and that and that. When Tariq Nasheed started talking about the Africans' actions and stance, that's exactly what he was saying. That your government, and you keep saying my government is this and American people owe us and you're the richest country and this is resourceful. No matter how you put it, we built the damn country. We built it. We engineered it. We are the reason for this. We understand this is a very sophisticated understanding. It's not anything we're talking about. We know exactly what we're talking about. This is the truth. No one came out to fight anybody as a FBA is a FBA, Black American, Foundational Black American. I can stand here and say we're not looking to war with anyone. What we're doing is practicing self-preservation, which is the first nature of law. We are not African. We have an African descent. We are a people by now. And no matter if we do have some white forefathers that were able to insert the slaves and we were born and our parents and our ancestors, that still proves us our facts of we are being a different people, and we are. I mean that you don't get to say that oh we're some lost tribe and we don't know what's going on, and you get to actually talk about us and everything. You are in a place of delusional. You're delusional. I mean, I want to say to you, there's nothing that you have honestly as an African that we are jealous of and that we won't. That's crazy. But what's preposterous and what's appalling is that you would think that, and when you come to the United States, you are benefited from that which we spread at a table, from that which we suffer, what we gave to the society. We are the epitome of moral government. And when you talk about the government, it's the people. The government is the people. So when you say your government is going bad, that's your people, sir, ma'am. You are the government. We the people. We are the government here. And we understand we have people who are treasonous in our group. And that means the people that is, supporting us and that's supposed to protect us and practice self-preservation, the NAACP, the Congressional Black Caucus. Those are people that are supposed to stand for us. They have been standing for the Democrat agenda, which is immigration, is Democrat agenda. Mostly white immigrants are their agenda because white people are dying off. Their numbers are depleting. So the Democrats have an agenda as an American anchored institution, and they're not practicing self-preservation in terms of us in leadership in high society seats. And our people are not saying, okay, what about the slave descendants? What about our laws? What about our protections? What about the hate crime bills? What about our reparations? What about putting us in places where you have groups, where you have Jews at, where you have other groups at, Asians and stuff in our country over us, and where you're trying to put Hispanics? We understand this. We understand this, and this is our country. We built this country. We built this country. You don't understand it, who we are. When I was a little boy, I heard stories about how we had to do different things, how my ancestors had to do different things and be slaves. As a matter of fact, my great grandfather was burned alive by the KKK, which ran my great grandmother off her land. The KKK took. I know what I deserve, and only one group in this country deserve reparations, and that's the slave descendant. That's who built the country and suffered, and that government sanctioned for punishment for no apparent reason, just to gain wealth. That was me and my family. That was my family. My grandmothers, my aunties, and my uncles rocking around in wheelchairs, telling us, baking biscuits, telling us they ate syrup and bread, telling us that they had to call their daddy because he was a white Irishman, Mr. Johnson. So my great great granddaddy, they called him Mr. Johnson because they were black people. We are a people. We are slave descendants. We are foundational black Americans. We created the country. We created the culture. And when you come to this country, whoever you are, you're directly benefiting from what we have done and what we were able to do. We did not flee. We got out in the street. We marched. We preached. Those icons that you are remembering, Dr. King and them, those are people directly connected to our struggle, to who we are as a people in the grassroots, on the grassroots. And right now, you're talking to the grassroots. You're talking to me, Tariq Nasheed, and all of us that are trying to basically pull our movement and center it as we gain traction to our concerns while we're in a dire state or have been in a dire state in the society with no good cause. Just people greedy and want to keep slavery and the engine of slavery, of what it has been and what it benefits. So when you come here as an African and say something about us, there is no way you can say that any of our communities is worse than those shanty towns, because they are bad. People over in Africa starving. They're on the news. All we think about in Africa is, can we help? Can we help? That's all we ever thought about. We don't think about you coming here with the degree, and doing better and doing it. I'm Nigerian. I live in this town. We don't think about that. You don't match up to us, as a matter of fact, especially when it comes down to our icons and come down to our politicians and what they able to do in terms of progressiveness, of being something. We are the most affluent black people in the whole world. Now, there's the richest black man is in Nigeria, but that's one person, and he should be, because he doesn't support his people. They don't take care of their government. You guys got the majority in these countries, and you're not standing, and you're saying you have a rude government. Hell, if that's the case, we got a bad government. We were getting killed in the streets, barked by dogs, hung by trees, but we stood. They offered us to go places. We didn't go. Why would we? We built the most richest and the powerful country in the world. So we stood against white supremacy. We got laws changed. You better think about Fannie Lou Hamer. You better think about it. You better think about Ellen Baker. You better think about it, Mary Jane McLeod Bethune. You better think about these cities, Black Wall Street, Rosewood in Florida. We were on the 9. You hear me? You better think about Bruce's Beach in California. Look it up. You better think about Frederick Douglass, who they couldn't enslave because he was too smart. George Carver Washington. You better think about it. Nate Turner. You need to think about what you're saying. You sound crazy. There's no way you can ever be compared to us as a people. We're different people. But the Pan-Africanness came from us. We wanted to be with you. We wanted to help and be with you and see you coming. We call you guys brother and sister, and a lot of times you turn up your nose. You turn up your nose at us. So now we understand what has been going on, and we chose to identify with our cause, identify with the situation, what's at stake and what's been going on. instead of acting delusional and letting people ride on us and use us till we inside of a system of trapped in feudalism, and you're a part of it. You're a part of pushing us. That's not going to work, especially you. Especially black immigrants, you shouldn't do that, because at the end of the day, they're going to treat you like they treat us in terms of prejudiceness and racism. But you're not tied to our inheritance. You understand? You're not tied to our reparations. That doesn't belong to you. Just to come to this country alone, having it be a dream country is a reparation to you. Going to our HBCUs, that's stuff we fought for. What are you talking about? And no, we're not the same people. Yes, a lot of our grandparents are Irish and stuff because of bedwenching and slavery. That's how we exist. And that's why we're old. That's why we're owed reparations. But you look foolish if you think we're jealous. None of us are jealous of that. We don't jealous of you. You don't have anything. What, you got a big house, a nice house somewhere in Lawrenceville, Georgia? Or in Alpharetta, Georgia? Or out in Texas? Or wherever you are? Black people have done well here. We have communities that are harming each other. Yeah, we know Chicago is bad. That's all people say. They talk about Chicago. We know the black ghettos was made by the CIA when they dropped crack cocaine off in it. But ain't now one of them damn places as rough as Africa. So you need to think about that. You need to think about that, and you need to understand that. We don't mix the pie. We understand exactly what you're saying. We understand. We understand. And you can be all about colonialism, and well, we can get into that subject too, about the government and how they treat us. But that is still not an excuse. Our government owe us. As a matter of fact, the African government owe us. We were sold, but the United States benefited. You cannot be us. You cannot be us. We're different. And we don't want you to think that we're trying to harm you, but you won't continue to harm us and badmouth us with a bad faith conversation and disrespect while you're over here being safe and comfortable, when you could have been over there fighting white supremacy and Chinese people inside your country, colonizing and being rude and beating you with sticks on your, making you lay on your stomach because you're showing up for work late in your country. And you're talking to us, especially you Somalians. You should be shaming yourself. And then being overtaken by Arabs. And you're going to talk about us? And we built this country, blood sacrifice, with our blood, body, and bones. And we sit up here and make these HBCUs and put things in the law. Fannie Lou Hamer and them all fighting and stuff. Our parents, my mother and them, and grandparents and them fighting to get things put in effect so you can come here and have a better way in this country, and you join the white supremacy and then come over here and think you white and or something that's weird and crazy. And some of you talk weird and crazy. You try to have an accent like you're more or better, and you ran from your hometown and left your place in shambles. That's a coward's way. So don't bite the hand that feeds you. Literally. Being disrespectful to us inside a place we prepared so that we can enjoy. And we haven't been able to because of white supremacy and the laws that they put into effect. And you think you're going to help them out by talking their language and their talking points? And then white immigrants are trying to join them. That's been the whole name of the game. Everybody come here that ain't white are being made white so that they can continue slavery and everything like that. But we know who we are, and we have a group started, and we have a mission, and we on the march.